Welcome to the very first video of my channel, and also to the first video in the series of videos that I'll be bringing to you about the Pandas library. So if you're familiar with Pandas, that's great. That's a great start. And you might wonder why you'd need another library to learn. So the reason is Pandas is faster, it's easy to use, open source. It gives up to 50 times performance. You can look at here, compared to Pandas, it can achieve more than 30 times performance. As you can see it in the chart here, for a given task, if Pandas takes 8 seconds, Pandas takes 207, whereas PySpark takes 55. So the installation is pretty simple. You go into the terminal and type in pip install Pandas. By the way, Pandas is written in Rust. That makes it pretty robust. If you click this, you'll come to the documentation. You'll be referencing to the documentation quite a lot. It helps a lot looking at stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you can read about. Concepts, expressions. Okay, it's just very helpful for beginners, for everyone who needs to get into Pandas. Okay, so this is an introduction video and it's gonna be quite long, so I've split the video into two parts, and I'll walk you through creating data frames, series objects, accessing or filtering data in this video. So without wasting any time, let's jump ahead into coding. So here I am in VS Code. I have a Python notebook. You can also use a Jupyter notebook. It's up to you. So let's import Pandas as PL. So let's begin with creating a data frame first. So it's pretty similar. df equals pl dot data frame, and then we'll give it some columns. Let's say ID 102, 103. Let's give a name. What name should we give? Aaron, Levi, Mikasa. I'm a huge AOT fan, by the way. That's why. What else can we give? Let's give language. With programming languages, these guys know C++. What else? Let's try and give it a Boolean column. So is awesome false? No, wait, Aaron is awesome. True, false, and then true. Yeah, that seems better. Then we'll give it date of birth as DOB. Okay, for this one we'll have to import the date time. Object, so date. So let's give it 2003, some random dates, and Levi is older, so let's give it 93. Mikasa being the same age as Aaron. So our data frame has been created, and similar to Pandas, you can have a look at this. It's the same df.head, and here is our data frame. If you just print out df.head, you'll get a different format. Doesn't really matter, but one thing to notice is that below the column names you'll see the data types. int64 string boolean date. That's how you create a data frame. You can also read CSVs. That's similar to Pandas. I'll show it when I compare Pandas and polars in the coming video. So let's look at how you can access the data now. So similar to Pandas, if I do this, df, then square brackets, column name, this would give me, oh wait, I misspelled Aaron. Okay, that is not acceptable. Go back. That's good. So, yeah. So df and then name. This gives me the name column. It's let's say I want to get the first row. So you just do df0 for the 0th row. Then let's say I want the first row and the name. So this should actually give me Aaron, right? So there you have it, Aaron. Now, a different way to do the same thing is this. You use a comma. In polars you can do this, and this would give you the same result. So you can also pass in a list of columns. So let's say name and language. See, so for the first row we get name and the language columns, and you can also do slicing like you do in NumPy arrays, so 0 to 2 and then name. So this would give me first two rows and then the name column. I can change this to DOB, the date of birth. Okay, so this was pretty similar to Pandas, but now I'll show you a more polar way to do this, or polarific way if you want to say. So there are two functions mainly, select and filter. So the way you use select is you type in df.select pl.call and then the column you want. Okay, this would give me the name column, and if I do df.select pl.call asterisks, this would give me all the columns. Like if you're familiar with programming, you know that asterisk in many languages means all. Like even in SQL, when you do select star from the table, similar to that. So if I want multiple columns, I can do name, language, separated by a comma. There you have it, two columns. Then, okay, what do you think would happen if I condition it? What I mean to say is, if I do something like this, will I get the row with Aaron, or will I get the entire column? Whatever you think. Look, this is what I get. A Boolean column, true, false, false. Why is that? Because if I do head, Aaron is in the first row and not in the second and third. So, which is why we got true. Okay, so far so good. Now, let's look at the filter command, filter function. So, filter function basically filters out rows based on some condition. So let's do pl.call name equals Aaron. Okay, so this gives me the row that contains the name as Aaron. So you are filtering out the data using pl.call. The column should be name equals where the name is Aaron. Okay, now let's do two conditions. pl.call name equals, let's say, Levi, and pl.call, what should we do? Let's say is awesome is false. Okay, so we filtered based on two conditions. The name should be Levi and the is awesome should be false. You see how if I change this to true, becomes an empty data frame because there's no column, no row that matches this. So there's one more way you can do this without the ampersand, which is actually much easier. So what you need to do is just pass in a comma and look. Wait, I'll just make this false and look. So without ampersand, you just gave in a comma. I can give one more comma and then one more condition. So let's say pl.call language equals Python, or let's say Java because we need an empty data frame. Look. So these two conditions met, but the last one didn't. So it gave us nothing. Okay, so let's practice some more. Okay guys, you have to practice. The more you practice, the more you learn. So let's say I do filtering based on the ID column where the ID is greater than 101. Oh, accidentally, it's not PL, it's DF. Okay, so you can see it. We got the two rows where the ID is greater than 101. Now you might be thinking, what if after filtering I need a specific column? So remember that for columns we have select and for rows we have filter. So right now we need columns, so we can use select pl.call and then whatever column we need. So let's say name. So look, we got the names of the people who have ID greater than 101. Okay, now there's a much simpler way to achieve this same task, and that is doing this square bracket on the column name. Okay, it's similar to Pandas. I told you the two are very similar, but Polars is more efficient and fast. You'll see why in the coming videos. Okay, so this was all about select and filter. I would recommend you to go into the documentation, spend some time reading about select, filter, and basic operations. It will help. The more you explore, the more you practice. It's gonna help you. Like, look, df.filter, column A less than 3, and then and. So, like, yeah, there are many examples here. It'll help you a lot. So, yeah, that's it for this video. In the next part, we'll look at manipulating the data, changing the structure of the data frame, sorting the data, and also some comparisons between Polars and Pandas. And I'll see you in the next one.